How important is this year for you guys as a franchise?
I think it's a big year. I think this is, in my 5 years, I think this is probably one of the biggest for us. I think after the performance we had last year in the regular season, the work we've put in, and obviously coming up short. Obviously, we weren't as healthy as we wanted to be, but I think this is a big year for us just as a whole because we're not going to sneak up on anybody. Last year, we weren't necessarily everybody's eyes. Top 8. Now we're here and people see us as that, and it's for us. We got to continue to do what we do, but come out with a fire and a hunger and an edge that we really I can't say we've had before, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I just feel like on a higher level. And I think that's something that we all understand. We put the work in this summer. We're going to continue to do it through training camp and throughout the season.
Speaking of the work this summer, how much were you able to do just with having to deal with the rehab and the ankle recovery?
I was able to do a good amount. Excuse me. I think I took probably 3 weeks of not doing anything, no basketball, no rehab, just giving my body time to just relax. I think that was big for myself. I think that was really a good decision for me because it helped me when I got back to it. That fire, that hunger, I was telling you, when you're away from something for so long that you love, and you come back and you're ready, you're determined, you're ready to go. And I was able to go down to Miami and work with my team, and I think that was something for me that I was able to accelerate my process and get back to being a learner.
You good now, 100%?
Yeah, good.
With the off-season acquisitions, has this team gotten better in your mind? You got to show it on the court, obviously.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've addressed a few things. I think the big thing we saw in the offseason was defensively we needed, some different looks. Obviously we're all going to be our individual selves, the guys who are coming back. But, I think, bringing in Eric, who's a dog, Rudy Gay, a veteran who can switch 1 through 5, who can shoot the 3 ball, Hassan Whiteside, and I really don't need to speak about Hassan. We understand what he brings as far as rim protection. I think, he's a defensive anchor as well as having Rudy, and I think that's fantastic for us. And I think we are better, but we got to go out there and prove it, and got to go out there and do it.
When the series against the Clippers ended, you'd mentioned like that was going to be something you were thinking about all the time. The grocery store line.
Yeah.
Are you because I know even when we got to the end of last season, you were still talking about the Denver series. Mm-hmm. How long does that stick in your mind as a frustration before it turns into motivation?
I think the frustration left probably when Milwaukee won, because now everybody's off. I think everybody's done. Now it turned into, there's always motivation, I should say. There's always going to be motivation, but I think it turned into from frustration to now, because that kind of lined up into when I'm starting to work back to getting in shape. And, now it comes into your reps. It comes into your, that's where that fuel comes from for me. So, there's still motivation from the Denver series. There's still motivation from all those different things because at the end of the day, we've had, pretty good regular seasons and we've had some great seasons, but we haven't really gotten to, the pinnacle of the top. And so for us, it's like, and for myself, it's how do we get there? And how do we continue to do that, continue to basically get into uncharted territory for a lot of us, outside of a few of us on the team. And I think that's where that comes in because that's definitely what's fueling me, And I said it after we lost to Denver. I said, I told the guys on the bus, like, look, let this eat at you, and I think it's the same with this, whether it's you're supposed to do 8 reps, do 10, and little things like that, just kind of changing your mindset and kind of getting you to a point where you're really uncomfortable, but in a good way, because you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's all that is with us, and that's what great teams do. They're able to adapt to different situations and able to put themselves in positions to win at a high level.
What was the feeling when Mike resigned? Was it relief that you kind of knew you were going to be able to compete at that same high level?
I kind of knew Mike was going to resign. I made the joke on Twitter that I locked him in his house like they did with what's his name, DeAndre Jordan. But I had a feeling, man. It was just we were, and I don't know if he spoke on this, but we spoke on the plane about what he was going to do, and I think for him, he didn't say it, but I kind of felt it. You don't just. You kind of need to run it back. You feel like we could have been, playing in the finals. We could have felt like we could have won. And it's easy to say that when you're removed from it, obviously they put the work. Those teams obviously put the work in and whatnot. But I felt like we could be there. And if we came back and ran it back and continued to work, I think we got willing and healthy for starters, but also continue to do what we do. I think we can get to that point. But it's a lot of work. It's not a given just because Mike resigns that we're going to be back. But it definitely puts us in a position to be there.
We got the word a couple hours ago that they changed some of the health and performance staff this year. Just kind of curious what your level of kind of comfort is with the current staff and kind of how you see that staff working together with your staff on, kind of getting you ready throughout the season.
And most of the staff that's here, I've known since I've been here. We've already started working together with my staff, and things have been great and seamless. So I'm excited. Like I said, they came in Miami when I was down there, and things have been moving great, moving forward. And I think that's the biggest thing is just continue to make sure I'm healthy, as well as the team, but myself for my own sake, I'm healthy, my ankle's good, and I think that's really it.
Beyond health, what do you want to do with your game this year?
I think there's another level I can get to. I've said that every year to y'all, but I think it's the truth. I think for me, obviously being able to be more efficient, not just with when you think of efficiency, you think of shooting percentage typically, but for me it's turnovers, it's defense. Being able to be when I'm on the floor, your presence is felt. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is just being able to be a leader on the floor and vocal as well as being able to do it through action. And I can do it on the offensive end, but picking it up defensively as well, I think it'd be huge.
You're coming.
Let's go. When we talked to Justin Zanuck earlier, he said that health is the most important thing, especially for delivering a healthy roster to the playoffs. And that might come this season, especially after another quick turnaround, maybe less minutes to try to conserve you guys. And some guys might get more rested, stuff like that. Right. Is that something that you would push back against, or would you welcome it?
I'm all for, ways to make sure we're healthy, especially after, maybe if you asked me last year before I got hurt, maybe my answer might be different, but understanding the importance of it and the longevity of being healthy, not just for the season, but for the playoffs as well. I think I'm all for ways to help us become as healthy, be as healthy as possible, but like I said, if I'm feeling good and, at the end of the day, I trust my staff and I trust our coaching staff, and I think that the great part about it is we've all working together. It's not like, you're here working together, and I think that's where those conversations come in, and, if we're comfortable, but, I think at the end of the day, if we're fighting for, God forbid, we're fighting for the 8th spot, I'm not, you know what I mean? But I think for us is being smart. I think obviously working hard, but also being smart because, it's a long journey to get to the playoffs, but it's also a longer journey to stay there and be at the top and be at your best every day.
So it's fair to say maybe that the late season injury might have given you a different perspective on kind of what it takes to stay healthy through that part of the season.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't even just say that. I think it's given me it's given me a different perspective, and I've grown to be appreciative of it because it's helped me understand a lot of different things. As far as on the court, it's helped me understand, what I can do to be better as a player. What I can be better as a leader, but also understanding, like you said, like the health component. We were at a point where guys were at that point in the season. I believe we were at a point where guys were sitting games and we were doing that in a sense. But I think now it's okay, understanding that look, we want to be, the last team standing. I'm not saying that we're willing to sit in 5 games, but if it's what's needed, and that's the biggest thing. If it's what's needed, it's not just like I'm just gonna sit. That's not in my DNA. That's not my personality. That's not in any of our DNA or personalities. But understanding that, the goal is to be playing into June. So that's whatever it takes to get there.
How important is
this that the team's 100% vaccinated? How important is it, and what does it mean to have, that not be a distraction, not have to answer questions about that, and know that, guys are going to be available everywhere you go?
I think it's great that we're all vaccinated. I think, I think we've seen obviously on the news of different guys from different teams, but at the end of the day, it's a personal decision. But I definitely encourage not just my teammates, but I encourage people to get vaccinated so we can get past this. I think that's something that's definitely important. But for us, I think as a team, I think it's something that we can continue not continue, but we like you said, be available. We are available, and we don't have to worry about, going to think it's New York and California, right?
Yeah.
I think those are two places that are, you would be running into some issues. So I think for us is just being able to be there and be healthy. I think that's, and being able to be available. I think that's the biggest thing for us. So I'm glad we're all vaccinated and ready to go.
How important do you think seeding is?
I think that's a good question. I think obviously it's different now, I think, than my first 3 years because of the play-in tournament. So I think it's a little different because of the play-in tournament means, there's, I think it's 3 through 6. No, they're playing for like 5 days, and then 1 and 2 don't. But, obviously that didn't matter because the Phoenix Suns made it to the finals anyway. But I think for us, you always want to be top 2, top seed in the West. But like I said, the goal is to be the last team standing, and there's, I don't know the stats behind what team is what seed going into the playoffs and whatnot, but, I think we have the personnel to be the top team, and we have to continue to put the work in. I think it's going to be a fight in the West. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, but whatever it takes for us to be the last team, whether that's us being the 1 seed or the 5 seed, we're all pushing to be the 1. We don't push to be 5th. You know what I mean? We're not out here saying like, all right, let's go be the 5th seed. And we know that's not the goal. The goal is to be the best team in the league. But on top of that, the goal is to be the last team in the league standing too. So obviously we're all pushing to be the best team coming out of the regular season. But then also win.
Sorry about that. Are you guys at the point where, the regular, I don't want to say the regular season doesn't matter, but are you at the point where you're just going to be solely judged by what you do in the playoffs?
I want to say yes, because that discredits a lot of the work we put in to get there. But I think there is a point where we've shown what we can do pretty much every regular season since I've been here. We've shown what team we can be. But we gotta make this push. Like this, it's no secret. Our first year we had a great season. Obviously, low expectations. Obviously losing Gordon and things like that, being underdogs. And then our second year we played the Rockets, another underdog, didn't fare well for us. And then the Denver series, we really didn't know who we were as a team. Bojan wasn't there, Mike wasn't there, but we saw glimpses. And then you have last year where we saw what we could be throughout the regular season, and then we ended up not healthy. So. I think for us, this is a big year for us as far as expectations within ourselves. Not even just the outside perspective, but just for us. Like I think this is a year where it's like, look, man, like we can do this, and it's a matter of putting the work in for the full 82, and then getting there for the final 16 wins. Like that's what we kind of. I guess you can say yes. That's going to define us. That's obviously where a lot of players are defining their careers too, outside of the team aspect. So. I think for us, it's like, okay, we can be this team. We know we can do it in the regular season, but playoff time, it's like, look, this is where we got to go out there and prove ourselves.
Chemistry is such a big part of this team. There's some new faces you're bringing in, but to have your best friend from childhood, and how much does that help facilitate that chemistry?
Man, I think it's great, man. It's one of those things where we had the opportunity to make it happen. I was like, man, like this. I didn't think it was actually going to happen. You know what I mean? I thought it was like one of those things that would be great. Oh man, that'd be dope. But we didn't really think it actually happened. And to have Eric here, obviously we grew up across the street from each other, played the same AU team, same church, same everything. And my best friend to this day, to have him on a team that's already great with chemistry, I think is incredible. And he's more of a shit talker than I am. So I think that's what's going to create, bring light to the locker room in a sense. And I think on the court, he's going to be there for us, be a dog, and just be, a guy who's there for us. I think, and at the same token, he's in his third year. He's still learning as well. And that's where it helps having guys like, Rudy Gay coming in. You have Mike. You have having the staff that we have, being able to kind of facilitate and kind of just be there for us as a whole. Obviously I'm 5 years in too, but we're all relatively young in a sense. So for us, just kind of having that, and enjoying ourselves and living out our childhood dream, but also taking care of business as well.
Not to sound crass, but sorry, your financial situation changes significantly this year. You're not on your rookie deal anymore. How does that change life off the floor and then pressure on the floor?
To be honest with you, I've kind of felt that pressure since year 2. To be honest with you, I think after what I did my first year, it was kind of like an expectation. It's kind of, you can go into it, you can have your one-hit wonder, you can take off. So I feel like as far as on the court pressure, I don't feel like it's any different. I think, off the floor, I'm able to obviously take care of my family. Like I said, I'm blessed that I don't have to play this game again and be taken care of for life, and I'm truly blessed and honored. But there's more to it. I played this game, obviously to win, to be a champion, to be the best player and I could possibly be. So for me, that's really what it is, and help this team win. That's really my goal. But I don't think it adds any pressure on me.
There's some different personnel on the roster, and it kind of, especially with Rudy Gobert, gives you more of an opportunity to play some small ball five and play some different looks that you maybe haven't seen, maybe especially last season. Are you looking forward to the opportunity to play kind of different style?
Sorry, Mike's back there. Yeah, I think so. I think it definitely gives us a different look. I think being able to not be schemed on one look, I think is definitely helpful. And then having a guy like Rudy, who's, like I said, been in the league, been on playoff teams, played with Mike, play one of our, for so many years, played with our point guard. And then also being able, he shoots, I think, 40% from three, something like that. My numbers could be off, but I think that adding that dynamic, at the five, I think would be huge, especially offensively, but also defensively as well.
We got time for one more.
What's it like kind of re-engaging with the community or at the BYU game? Things are starting to open up. Are you like connecting with Jazz fans and just the Utah community in general more?
Yeah, I think, I really wanted to go to that game. Well, I've never been to a football game at BYU. I've heard, but things, and obviously I went to a basketball game, I think it was my rookie year, but school was out, or class was out for December, so I never really got to experience the full environment, but also bringing the new guys, with me as well, and being able to have them receive the love and enjoy the Utah fans and understand what this environment is going to be in about, a month. So I think, or not even a month, less than that. So I think for myself, just being able to be a part of the community, that's always one thing that I've always been, have been doing, and I think I enjoy it. It's something that, at the end of the day, it's weird to say, but I'm not too far removed from college, you know what I mean? So it's definitely something that, keeps the child and keeps the happiness going, because obviously basketball is great, but it's business, it's part of life, and it becomes stressful at times. It's no secret, with all of our jobs, right? It is what it is. So for me, just being able to be, Donovan Mitchell would also be like, a kid in a sense as well, and can also inspire people with my presence as well. So that's dope.
Thanks, Don.
I appreciate that.
Rudy's 38 from 3.
38.